we started incorporating mindset into our programs. I was a strategist. So I thought, hey man, I teach people the best webinar strategy, the best client attraction strategy, the best sales strategies, the best ad strategies. And I just teach them how to do it, and they're going to do it, and all's going to be well. I realized pretty quick that that wasn't the case, because the problem was like, not that they couldn't execute the strategy, but that they got hung up on their own fear. And they got stuck in fear and self-doubt and imposter syndrome.
Hey there, this is Delusional. I am your host, Michelle, and I'm here with the legendary Russ Ruffino. Russ, please introduce yourself.
I'm Russ Ruffino. I quit my bartending job and built a $100 million coaching company.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one, Russ. Let's get into it. Can we start at the beginning? So you're a bartender.
Yeah.
And then what made you think I'm going to go make, hundreds of millions of dollars?
Well, I didn't think that. I did not think that. All right. I was bartending and I was acting. I went to a high school for performing arts. I went to UCLA School of Theater. So like acting was my thing. The whole time I was at UCLA, I was studying with like some of the top teachers in town, some of the best coaches and stuff. So the trajectory of my life was like, I wanted to be like a movie star, basically. That's what I wanted to do. And when you're trying to make it as an actor in LA and it's not going so well, you are bartending or waiting tables or giving massages or like personal training or whatever.
All the above.
All the above sometimes. So I was bartending, and, I bartended from age 21 to age 31. And on my 30th birthday, I was sitting in the lobby of the Palazzo Hotel in Las Vegas, crying into my bourbon with my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, sitting there next to me, just thinking about how much my life sucked and how like nothing was working. And I, vowed to myself that like come hell or high water, no matter what, I was not going to be a 40-year-old bartender. Now, like if that's what you want to do and it's like your craft and you're all into like, mixology and shit, then, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I just knew that it wasn't for me. It was a Joe job that I took while I was pursuing my dream, and my dream was sucking and the Joe job was sucking. And I just sort of didn't know what to do. And so right around that time, I went on break from my bar, and my bar was at a mall, an outdoor mall at a restaurant. And I happened to walk into Barnes & Noble, and I happened to see a copy of the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss.
Love that book.
And that book really opened my eyes to the possibility of online entrepreneurship, which I didn't even know existed. I thought in my limited version of the world that you were either like a movie star or a rock star or like an athlete or some kind of awesome celebrity, or you're basically working in an office doing a job that you hate. And this idea that you could leverage online marketing to create the income you want, but also enjoy the freedom you want, was like a totally new idea to me. And so I looked at it and I was thinking about it. And right around the same time, I was also, by the way, the lead singer of an 80s cover band.
Really? I never knew that part.
That's a whole other story. And the guitarist's little younger brother came into my bar, and he was talking all this shit. Oh, dude, I just made $1,200 today. What recession, baby? I made $2,000 yesterday. And I was like, okay, what is this kid doing? And as it turned out, he was doing like affiliate marketing and online marketing and promoting stuff. And those two things happening at the same time, I don't think was a coincidence. And I said to myself, look, I don't know what this kid's doing, but if he can figure it out, I can figure it out. And so at that point, Michelle, I had no like concept at all of ever building, $100 million company. My goal was to make $100 a day.
Yeah.
Because if I could just make $100 a day online, oh my God, I would be the greatest thing ever. I wouldn't have to bartend anymore. What would I do? Like with all that so much money. And if I didn't have to actually pour drinks to make it, that seemed like it was going to be, totally like a life-changing experience for me. So that was the original goal. And I started kind of dabbling in promoting different affiliate products, like doing a little bit of online marketing. I had zero background in marketing, but it turned out that like I could just do it. So like I had never sat down to write sales copy before, and I sat down to write my first video sales letter, and it just like flowed. And I was just like, I didn't really know the difference between a good one and a bad one, but I was like, okay, this feels like it's really good. Like, I feel like this is really good. I feel like I can do this. And so it was kind of like, if you've got some gift for like, chess or something, and the first time someone ever puts a chessboard in front of you, you're 31. And
Mm,
you're just like, oh, and this that goes here and blah, 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 blah. And you have no background in it whatsoever. So I had no background in marketing. I was an actor, right?
right.
Got my BA in theater. But anyway, when it came to the online marketing piece, I was very surprised to find that I could just do it.
Yeah.
And eventually quit my bartending job. That's a whole story. And ended up doing $250,000 my first year online.
That's amazing, and I love the savant story because, if people who know you know that you're basically one of the best copywriters on the planet and just a natural at it. It's really kind of what you built your success on was your ability to write persuasive copy and then to teach other people, right, how to write persuasive copy and kind of break down that system step by step.
Well,
What
it sucks as a story, right?
Yeah,
Like, like, I would be better off if I was like, "Yeah, I wrote my first sales letter and it was terrible, but I really worked at it, and if
yeah.
I did it, you can do it too." Like, straight up, no, I could just do this. Like, it just was, like, automatic, so
But that's okay, right? It's okay to acknowledge that. I mean, all of us have special talents, and all of us have, ways that we're a savant and things that are easier for us to pick up. For me, it was sales, right? I just am natural at sales. And one of the things I actually admire the most about you is your ability to teach other people how to do what you do, because I really struggled with that. I was naturally amazing at sales, but I really struggled when I first started trying to manage a sales team and manage sales people. That's where my business hit a snag because for me, it seemed like, well, it was so natural to me that it was really hard for me to break it down step by step exactly how I'm doing what I'm doing. I eventually figured it out, and now I teach sales to my clients much more successfully than I ever taught it to my team. So, like, how did you figure out right now you're famous for being the founder, owner of Clients on Demand. Uh, when did Clients on Demand start in this story?
yeah.
How did you figure out that the real money was gonna be in teaching other people how to do this?
So I started out not having any products of my own and doing what's called affiliate marketing, which, just in case people in the audience don't know what the hell that is, that's basically like you have an ebook or video course for sale. I send traffic to your website through my affiliate link. And when someone buys, you give me some commission, whether that's 30%, 40%, 50%, or whatever it is. So I started out doing that because I didn't have any products of my own. And I was actually pretty successful at it. And very quickly, I realized like that the real money is not in being an affiliate for someone else, but to create your own products and have people sending you traffic all the time.
Right.
So as I learned more about online marketing, I started to create little products teaching people how to do some of the things that I had learned. Now, that went really well. So what we would do is I would create like a $27 product or $47 product, like stuff that was relatively inexpensive, and we would, sell thousands of copies of it. So I would do a launch, all the affiliates would promote the launch, and I'd sell like a couple thousand copies of my $27 thing. I would make, $50,000, probably net out $30,000 after commissions, which was amazing because $30,000 is about what I would make an entire year of bartending.
Right.
So that was like super cool, mind-blowingly awesome. But it's funny. I would follow up with people who bought the product and I would say, "Hey, man, what did you think?" And they would say, "Oh, dude, Russ, that program was awesome. I really liked it." And I'd say, "Okay, great. What'd you do with it? Did you put it into practice? Did you make any money with it? Like, tell me what happened, man. I want to know." And the answer was always the same. Like, "Oh, yeah, man, it was awesome. But, I have 3 other programs I bought and I got to get through those first. And then I'll get around to yours and I'll let you know how it goes." So basically, Michelle, I realized like, there were people buying my stuff, refunds were low, reviews were good, people were happy, but nobody was taking action, and so nobody really was getting the result. Like, maybe 1% of people actually did anything with the stuff I sold. And,
Does that make you
maybe
feel
from
bad? Like, or just morally, where you're like, "Man, I'm making all this
didn't
money and nobody else is getting any results from it."
yeah, it didn't make me feel bad, like, because just from, like, a purely capitalist point of view, like, I'm selling you something, I'm happy, you're buying it, you're happy, end of story.
Right.
But on a deeper level, it started to bother me. I was like, man, I'm putting my heart and soul into this stuff. I think it's really good. I know that if people took action, they'd get a great result, but nobody was taking action.
Mhm.
And so I thought to myself, all right, look, people are coming to me, they're spending $27. Selling thousands of copies of whatever it is. What would happen if I flipped that on its head? where instead of trying to sell thousands of copies of something for like $27, I charged 5, 6, 7, 8 grand to work with me, but I only worked with a handful of people every month. And my theory was, okay, if I could do that, I bet you those people would show up super committed because they're investing a lot more money. And I bet they would do the work and I bet they'd get the result. But the flip side is that, like, if you've got a $10,000 program, let's say, and you enroll 10 people, you made $100,000 that month, but you only have 10 people to take care of. So couldn't you give them like a real VIP experience and really give them some handholding and, really give them something that's super transformational? So that was like the hypothesis. And so I was like, all right, let me try to figure out how to do that. And at the time, there were people that were selling high ticket programs like that, but they were basically only selling it to their list. So you got
Hmm.
people that have been on your list for like 5 years. They've been stalking you forever. They've been following you forever. And so you go, hey, I got a private mentoring program. It's 10 grand. But there was like nobody that had figured out how to do that from cold traffic. So
Mhm.
how do you take, because if you're just selling it to your warm audience, it's not really scalable. But I was like, okay, if I was going to do this, how can I take people from like browsing around on Facebook to clicking an ad to enrolling in a high ticket program in the shortest possible amount of time? And so I tested a bunch of different ways to do that. I eventually cracked the code on how to do that piece. And then that became clients on demand. And as it turned out, all of those like hypotheses that I had ended up being true. It was the coolest people ever. They did show up, they did do the work. I was able to give them a really high touch transformational experience. And once I made that shift, I think that was December of like 2020 or of 2013, I want to say. It's like 12 years ago. I had my first $200,000 month.
Mhm.
And so I never looked back since then because it just worked so well, and it allowed me to have not just the income, but also the freedom and make the impact that I feel like I was born to make. So it's all those things at the same time. And that's become clients on demand. And we've been doing that for the last like 12 years.
Yeah. And you just hit it. I mean, part of it was timing too. I mean, when you talk about 2013, right? But and even when I started working with you as a client, I think at first in 2017, I went from about $10,000 a month I was doing on my own to about $100,000 a month in pretty short order, right? It was less than a year. Um, and we were riding a wave, right? Then 2020 happened. A whole bunch of people, everyone went online, everything went online. Everybody became an online coach, creator. The market got super, super crowded. And then it's created this, what we talk about now, this trust recession.
Mhm.
So now, I think there's a lot of people that look at it and go, oh, maybe I missed the moment. What would you say to those folks?
I mean, I don't think so. What we saw was when COVID happened, our clients had like the best year they've ever had because we were already online and we were already running our programs on Zoom and everything was already virtual. And
Yeah.
so for us, like we just kept doing our thing. Like from a business, obviously it was disruptive to our lives, because
Right.
all that stuff. But from a business perspective, it was like business as usual at COD because everything was online already. And for our clients, all their programs were online too. So that really didn't change much. What did change things was you did have a lot more people entering into the marketplace. And then what was really disruptive in my space was when Alex Hermozi came out with $100 million offers.
Oh, yeah. Our good
Okay.
friend Alex Hormozi.
Yeah. So I love Alex. And this is like, it's not his fault. But what happened was in this book, he tells you how to basically construct an irresistible offer. So, how do you have an amazing like value proposition and like a ridiculous, like idiot proof guarantee and all this stuff. And so people read that book and put together those kinds of offers without any thought whatsoever to whether they could actually fulfill on what they were promising. So you
Yeah.
had people running offers like, hey, I'll get you, 10 high ticket coaching clients in the next 60 days guaranteed. So, okay, fine. Maybe that's doable. But then people were like, well, I got to one up that offer. I'll get you 20 clients in the next 45 days guaranteed. And then it became like, I'll get you 100 high ticket clients by next Tuesday, or I'll buy you a Lamborghini, no questions asked. And it's like, okay, there was just this like explosion of these ridiculous over the top offers. And because the offers were so good, yes, people invested in them, but then they got burned and they got screwed. And at Clients on Demand, as we were doing, calls with potential clients, it used to be that we almost never heard that someone had done someone else's program. or if they had, it was like not that bad. So like sometimes we talk to someone like, hey, yeah, I did, I don't know, Sam Ovins's program, and it was pretty good, but I didn't really vibe with Sam, but the program was good. And it was like, okay, great. Like I knew all my competitors. All my competitors were basically doing a pretty good job. So if someone joined their program and didn't get the result, it's not like they came to us with all these like sour grapes.
Right.
What happened after $100 million offers came out is like most of the people we talked to had been through another program, had already invested like five or ten or $15,000, and it completely gotten burned.
Mm.
Like straight up, the people just didn't even do what they said they were going to do, and they were like fighting to get a refund and couldn't get a refund. So it was kind of like, and it was
Where's
like,
that Lamborghini? You promised.
right. It was, well, you know what it was like, Michelle? It was like going on a date with someone who's just been on like 50 bad dates. Like you were trying to convince them, like, no, all men are not assholes. Like, I
There's
swear to
some.
God,
Yeah.
like we're cool, I promise. Um, and so that was what kind of like let me realize that okay, we are definitely in some kind of a trust recession where the market sort of just got
And it was like, okay,
polluted by its own broken promises. And all those guys were out of business in 6 months. And then another crop of guys would come up and then they'd be out of business in a few months. And that seems to be kind of winding down now, where every day when I went on Facebook, it was always like a new crop of people showing up in my ads. Now I'm starting to see like, okay, it's starting to be the same few guys again that actually managed to create some, longevity. But yeah, like, and it was like, that trust recession thing was real. And so all that meant for us is we just had to work a little bit harder to get people to like consume more of our content, to really show that no, we are different than some of the other people in the space. And that happened to a large extent in our market. It happened to a lesser extent in kind of crowded markets like real estate. The weight loss market got disrupted a little bit, but I think for a different reason because of Ozempic and stuff. And it was like other markets like parenting, in and it was like relationships and dating and marriage coaching, that really didn't happen at all. So and it was like the exact same strategies didn't really need to change that much for those markets. Like basically just do the same thing that you've been doing for the last 10 years.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there I mean, certainly you've had an amazing upward trajectory, and also I know there have been some really hard moments in there, some really hard times. You have a whole bunch of kids, which is not easy, regardless of who you are, too. And you're a big mindset guy. In fact, fun fact for folks that have been following me for any amount of time, you know that I've become super woo. I'm super into personal growth and development. It really started when I was a client of Russ, because mindset was baked into everything that you guys did. And I quickly realized working with you, Russ, that that was one of the things that was missing from what I was doing, because I started out as a straight up management consultant, business strategist. I mean, we would be out there busting out the financial forecast spreadsheets, like, oh, the spreadsheet's telling us exactly what to do. But I quickly realized that it didn't matter how good the spreadsheet model was if you were too afraid to do what the spreadsheet said to do. And then I needed to then get into mindset, become a mindset coach. So you are super into, there's a whole crop of guys from the 1930s, by the way. And so we start with like a Napoleon Hill, but you are Joseph Murphy. There's like Wallace Waddles. There's all the, I don't know what it was about the 1930s, but like a little chunk of these guys came out and they wrote these timeless books. Um, can you talk to us a little bit about how that work and your mindset work got you through some of the harder times in your business or your life?
So first of all, we started incorporating mindset into our programs for the exact same reason as you. And I was a strategist. So I thought, hey man, I teach people the best webinar strategy or whatever, the best client attraction strategy, the best sales strategies, the best ad strategies. And I just teach them how to do it and they're going to do it and all's going to be well.
So let's do
And
it.
I realized pretty quick that that wasn't the case, because the problem was like, not that they couldn't execute the strategy, but that they got hung up on their own fear. And they got stuck in fear and self doubt and imposter syndrome. And even the people that were successful would have like money meltdowns. So like one of the things that we ran into is in the mastermind that you were in, is we're getting so many people to $100,000 a month or more. And we called it the $100,000 a month meltdown, where, and it wasn't always at 100K, but everybody, what we found, has this like internal barometer of
Mhm.
what feels like too much money, whether that's 100K
Yeah.
or 200K or whatever. And when they would run into it, they would begin to sabotage. because they were so uncomfortable making that much money because maybe nobody in their family had ever made more than 50, 60, 70K a year, maybe even less.
Yeah, yeah. Have you read The Big Leap? That book is about that.
No, I got to check that out. But yeah, this
Yeah,
is
The
something
Big
that
Leap.
we experience. So anyway, we started incorporating a lot of mindset work into our programs. Now, the funny thing about mindset is there's really two problems. Number one, nobody thinks they need it until you push them outside their comfort zone and they go, "Hey, can I have some mindset coaching, please?"
Please.
Yeah, right. But the second thing is that when people come across a program that's all mindset, 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 usually the reason it's built that way is because they don't have the strategic piece.
Right.
So when you see a program that's like super, super woo, it's usually because that's all there is. And they're just going to tell you to like think positive and visualize. But then you ask them, okay, how do I run a freaking Facebook ad? They're like, I don't know. We don't know how to do that. So for us, like we sort of don't emphasize the mindset piece until people come in the program and then execute the strategy and then experience some of that fear and some of that self doubt. And that's when we bring the mindset stuff in. So that's why we have that in the program to begin with. Now, for me, I've realized over the years that much to like my regret, because me and Jane would fight about this all the time. Like Jane's our head mindset coach, and I'd mess with her. I'd be like, oh, mindset's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Dude, mindset is literally everything
It's the
because
whole thing.
the right strategy executed from the wrong mindset will fail every time. But
Mhm.
if your mindset is strong enough, you will tend to naturally be led into the right mentors who will give you the right strategy, and then you'll be able to execute that strategy correctly. So we want our programs to be a one-stop shop. Here's the strategy, start to finish. Here's all the hand-holding and support to execute it. And here's all the mindset support for when you inevitably freak out along the way. We're here for you. We got you. Um, for me, like, you know, I tell clients that if you want to grow spiritually, don't go sit in a cave in India and meditate. Start a freaking business
Yeah.
because you will be tested
Yes.
in ways that you cannot imagine and you cannot foresee.
Yes.
And you will constantly be dealing with fear.
Yes.
So we tell our clients if you want to be heavyweight champion in the world, you're going to get punched in the face.
That's right.
Like it's part of the freaking job. You don't get to be like, yeah, man, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to go in the boxing ring. I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world. Boom. He hit me. It's like, no, that's the sport. Like
Yeah.
you're going to try to hit him. He's going to try to hit you. And that's that. So yeah, man, I've dealt with like, you name it, like employees quitting and trying to poach clients copying my entire program without changing a single word and trying to pass it off as theirs, lawsuits, refunds, complaints, you name it. And so I can get into like what my personal mindset routine is, but my point is that when you're trying to do great things, there's going to be stuff that comes up. I think I read the other day that like I'm going to get this wrong, so like don't sue me if I get this number wrong, but something like Elon Musk has like at any given time like 80 to 100 active lawsuits against him for
Oh,
God
I
knows
believe
what,
it. Yeah.
against Tesla or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's gonna be shit that you have to deal with. And having a consistent and daily mindset practice is probably the most important thing that you can possibly do for yourself. And so many people just neglect it that you're basically guaranteeing you're going to stay stuck if you don't work on your mindset every single day. It needs to be like working on your body. Like if you don't work out, the natural tendency of your body is to get weaker. It's not going to get stronger by itself. It's the
Mhm.
same thing with your mindset. You are so surrounded by negativity and, friggin' Twitter and social media and Instagram and all the nonsense that people are posting and the media. It's like there's so much in just our environment that's telling you to be scared all the time or telling you to be pissed off all the time. If you don't have a constant routine to counteract the effects of that, much less deal with the added stuff of your actual business, you've got no chance of succeeding, basically. None.
Absolutely. At this point, my mindset work has gone from a, 5 or 10-minute little routine of, visualizing what I want and acting as if and being grateful, fantastic, to really extensive like energy clearing with everybody I've come into contact with, somatic clearing. At this point I
Right.
consider it like the most important work that I do. And sometimes it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes it's an hour to like if I wake up and I'm feeling some kind of way, I'm on the wrong side of the bed or whatever, for ladies, sometimes it's that time of the month. I'm sorry. I'm allowed to say that because I'm a lady. Sometimes we're just feeling some kind of way and there's some shit going on. What I figured out is you can't go straight into your day with that. If you
No,
go
you
straight
can't.
into your day with that, you're gonna
Yeah.
bring it to everybody. You're gonna bring it to your staff. You're gonna bring it to your clients. You're gonna bring it to your kids. And you can speak to this very well, Russ. But like the higher up you get, and the more influence and power that you have, the more you have to watch that shit because it's like one little word from you, one little twitch of your mouth is like, oh my god, do you see Russ's mouth twitched? He hates me. Like I should quit. Like you have to be on your shit because you are the lead heartbeat in the petri dish at that point, right? Do you know about this, about heart cells in a petri dish?
That you take heart cells, you put them in a petri dish, and they keep like
Yeah,
feeding on you.
there's
Yeah.
one that's a lead heartbeat, and the other heart cells will all sync to that one lead heartbeat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. I like
Yeah,
that. That's
when you're the
interesting.
leader in your organization, in your family, wherever, you're the lead heartbeat, and so if you're in a shitty mood, everybody's gonna be in a shitty mood. I mean, that's gonna trickle down and spill over to everybody. If you're in a great mood, that's gonna lift everybody up, right? And so as leaders, it's so important for us to just get ourselves right and deal with ourselves before we go into the world. And what do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a really interesting point because what I have found is that, it's not so much what you do as it is the energy behind what you do, the
Yeah.
emotional energy behind it. So, for example, I'm going to do this interview today, right? I could come at it from a place of fear, like, oh God, like, what if I, say something stupid or whatever, or like Michelle asked some question I don't want to answer. Oh God, what if that, or I could be like from a place of just like, anger about it, like, oh God, I got into the friggin' interview. I'm so tired. I had a bunch of meetings today, blah, 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 or I could come up from a energy of desire. I want to do this thing with Michelle, and if I say just the right things, I'll probably get some clients out of it. I'll probably make a little cash. Well, what,
Mhm.
right? But what I try to do is I find that if you can approach everything in your business from an energy of love and service, you are going to have exponentially more energy and juice and power available to you. And that
Mhm.
goes for everything from shooting a YouTube video to doing a sales call to doing a webinar to firing someone. You can fire someone from an energy of love and saying, like, look, it's not working out. I wish you the best. I'm here for you, but I have to do this because I love my company and it's just not working to
Right.
have you be a part of it. So as best you can, I always try to make that energy of love and joy my emotional home. So all the mindset work that we do at COD is really about that. It's about changing your emotional home. And that's like, where are you hanging out most of the time? And what I've found is that most people have an emotional home of like fear or discomfort or
Mhm.
anger or greed or whatever. And then they
For
take
sure.
occasional day trips into these like peak experiences,
Right.
like it's Christmas morning and you've got your eggnog and the fire's there and your kids are there. And it just is like, oh, it just feels so good. And then the next day you're back in negative town, or you're
Mhm.
going on vacation and you're walking on the beach and you see the stars and you get the sense that there's something more. And it's like, oh my God, it was this amazing experience. And then the next day you're like a schmuck again.
Right.
I think what we try to do is invert that so that you're living the majority of the time in love and joy and gratitude and abundance. And then, yeah, you take occasional day trips down to a negative town. You have
Yeah.
an occasional day where you're just like, F it, I'm going to watch movies all day and drink hot chocolate and do nothing because I'm pissed off. Um, and that's really what it's about, is just elevating your state of being so that you are bringing a higher level emotional energy to the work that you do, because you will have a far greater reach and be much more powerful if you do that.
Absolutely. I always say I aim for 80%. Like none of us are Buddha. We're not there 100% of the time. But if I can be in love, peace, and joy 80% of the time, I've got a really good life.
Mhm.
I've noticed also, Russ, that as I've progressed, and obviously, business is like anything else. You put in your reps, you get stronger, you get better at it. But as I've progressed to staying in that vibration more of the time, my capacity has greatly expanded for my clients, for my children, right? I mean, if you think about it, if you're in like a shitty mood and one of your kids comes and like tugs on your shirt and asks for something like, oh, go, not now, go away.
Right.
I would sometimes feel the same way with clients, and I've always worked with people I love. I've always loved my clients, but there were times when it was like, "Oh, no, I am absolutely, I've gotta have strict boundaries. I am not available at night, on the weekend, and, if you call me for a random call, I can't just take a random call for you. That's not in scope of our arrangement or our retainer or whatever." And I was really, I think boundaries have their place, and I think that can be good. But for me, what I've found is now that I've increased my vibration and I'm up in a vibration of love, joy, happiness most of the time, if a client texts me at, 8 p.m. or on a Saturday or whatever, I'm fine with that. Like, and I'm not saying like they don't expect me to get right back to them all the way, or they don't expect me to not have a life or whatever. Like, I'll tell them sometimes, "Hey, I'm busy. Can I call you Monday?" But I don't feel pissed off about it anymore. I'm like, I'm glad people feel like they can come to me. I'm happy to be accessible. I'm happy when my kids ask me for something. That means they trust me. That means they feel safe to come to me for something. I just see it all differently. And I feel like I can handle so much more with so much less stress than I used to be able to.
Because you're not at war with yourself.
But
And that's, I think, something that's really important for people to understand is that if you really look at, like, if I really take a step back and look at, like, okay, what did I have to physically do? Like, what were the physical actions I needed to take to do $100 million in high ticket coaching revenue?
but
None of it is especially difficult. Like, if I'm being dead honest, like, it's not that hard to run a Facebook campaign. Like, the first time you do it, you're gonna be like, oh God, how do I do this? There's that like
yeah,
learning curve, right?
yeah,
But it's the resistance. It's the resistance. Oh God, I shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to learn this skill. I shouldn't have to have this call with a potential client who's upset and defuse that situation. You know, that's all just time you're spending at war with yourself. And if you could learn how to accept the things in your life instead of resisting the things in your life, it all just gets exponentially easier. So I think the hallmark of, like, are you progressing spiritually is are you living more in acceptance and less in resistance? Are you more present in the moment? Are you not spending so much time, stuck in a regret or guilt or whatever over the past, or anger over the past, or resentment over the past, or fear over the future? Then are you able to just show up and be like right here, right now, and understand that right now in this moment, everything's cool,
thanks, cool.
you know?
Always. When one of my clients is freaking out, I'll just be like, "Okay, where are you right now? Like, are you in your chair? Are you comfy? Do you have, your comfy shirt on? Are there any tigers in the room?" And it's like
Yeah.
inevitably, it's like, "Oh, I like my chair. I'm in my nice, sweatpants." I'm like, "You're safe right this second." And even if you are getting into the stressful money parts of business, which that is part of it, like Russ said, you're gonna get punched in the face sometimes, right? We live in a country where there is no such thing as debtor's prison. Nobody's coming to break your legs unless you borrowed money from the mafia, and then I can't help you, but most of us didn't. So nobody's and I tell myself that sometimes when I get freaked out about money, debt, whatever. Nobody's coming to break my legs. Like, I'm fine. I'm physically fine. But what our lizard brain does, what our unconscious does sometimes is it is designed to keep us alive, to keep us physically safe, and it'll conflate the signals. And so it'll conflate financial stress with, physical danger, like your life is in danger and it feels the same way. You got the same chemicals pumping through your body, you're reacting in the same way. And sometimes you got to learn how to override that and shift that and go, you know what, I'm none of us, nobody listening to this podcast, I hope, is in any imminent physical danger of losing their life based on what's going on in their business, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that so I just got done reading this book by this guy named Sailor Bob Adamson. Okay, kind of a silly name. He's a guy.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a book about Advaita, right? Which is that non-dualism.
Mm,
He was a student of Nisargadatta Maharaj, who wrote this amazing book called I Am That. It's one of my most, like, highly recommended books, right?
writing it down right now.
And the title of this book is What is Wrong with Right Now
Are
If
there
You
any
Don't Think About It? And I'm like, that is such a great question. If you don't go into the past and you don't go into the future and you don't start telling yourself some story about how terrible everything is, what's wrong with right now if you don't think about it?
Yeah,
And the answer is always like nothing. And
nothing.
it's such a great question because it just brings you right into the present moment. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think that, like, that's the biggest part of it is we can just get so lost in fear and anxiety and worrying about what's going to happen. You're going to be all right. Like at some point in your life, you have to decide you're going to be all right. You've been rich, you've been poor. I've gone to the grocery store when I was bartending and didn't have enough money to pay for the groceries, didn't have anything in the ATM. I have gone and taken that big friggin' jar of quarters of all the spare change and taken it to the little coin machine and put it in there and gone, oh God, there's like $70 in here I didn't know that I
Same.
had. Like I've done that.
Are there any
Everything has always been okay. Everything has always been okay. I have always been taken care of. I've always been looked after. It has always just kind of worked out. My friend, we were talking about, Sarah was talking about that old like thing of like, oh, the cat's stuck in a tree, right? And you have to, like a cat stuck in the tree. You got to call the fire department to get the cat out of the tree. And I
Yeah.
asked her, I was like, baby, how many cat skeletons have you seen in trees?
Are there
Right?
any
Like
ti
the
Yeah.
cat gets out of the tree. You know what I mean? Like whatever situation you are in, if you allow the flow of life to come and take over and live through you, you are going to find a way out. You're going to be okay. It is only when you start creating this catastrophic picture of the future that you start to really suffer.
Yeah.
And once you understand that the only thing that can really trouble you is your own imagination,
Are there any ti
you just don't allow it to run wild anymore. And you find it 1,000 times easier to deal with whatever happens to be in front of you in the present moment.
Absolutely. As we're talking, I'm just thinking about every time that I was freaking out or panicking while I was sitting on my very comfortable couch or lying in my beautiful bed or, sitting in a first class seat on a fucking airplane or like walking down the beach somewhere, just being like sitting in a hotel room in a Ritz-Carlton somewhere, just like freaking out about it's like it's so insane how comfortable we are, and you may not be at the point where you're flying first class or sitting in the Ritz-Carlton, but I bet you're pretty comfortable wherever you're sitting right now watching or listening to this relative to how people were living, 2,000 years ago.
Well, I was reading like nobody had a hot shower
Are there any ti
before like 1910, 1920.
Yeah,
Like, think about that for a minute.
yeah,
The
yeah,
most amazing part of your day. Like, people couldn't experience that. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one in 1950 had sushi
yeah,
unless you lived in Japan. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't go and get like amazing pizza. Like all these things that we take for granted. Nobody, you couldn't go on like an incredible roller coaster where you go upside down and all this stuff. Like all this stuff that we have didn't exist. You couldn't turn on your TV and watch any show you wanted to watch. Me and Sarah were talking about this when we were kids. It was like, okay, when was Ghostbusters showing on HBO? Oh,
yeah,
it's playing at 8 o'clock. If you're not there at 8 o'clock, you ain't watching Ghostbusters. And
yeah,
my mom had the like tape of all the shows that like the movies that she taped off HBO, like
yeah,
like it's just like the stuff that we have available to us is incredible. I mean, my God, even in like our parents' generation, you had to worry about getting drafted. You had to worry about going to Vietnam.
yeah,
Like our grandparents' generation, you had to go worry about getting drafted and going fighting like Nazis when you were like 18. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like these are things that we just don't have to deal with, you
Well,
know?
and it's almost like we're so comfortable now that we have more time and space for the imagination to run wild, which is crazy and ironic. It's like we have all of these comforts, and are we happier? I don't know. I don't think so. If you looked at the average person's I haven't read any studies on this. This is just me, presuming, but I don't think people are happier. I think people have more time to be in their
No,
heads.
people are the most mentally unwell than like they've ever been. And
Yeah,
I think that the key to dealing with that is to realize that it is your imagination that is creating these monsters under your bed.
yeah,
There is no difference between you fantasizing about going broke and running out of money and your kid fantasizing about a boogeyman under the bed. There is
yeah,
no difference. It is the
yeah,
same mechanism. It plays out the same way, and one is just as unreal as the other.
yeah,
The truth is that you will be okay. You will be okay. You
yeah,
will be okay. And accepting that, I think, is a huge part of being able to do great things in the world because you just begin to gradually understand that all the stuff that you thought was a big deal wasn't a big deal. The
mhm,
first time you get a negative comment on your Facebook ad, it's a huge deal. Oh my God, everyone hates me. And then it's like, happens all the time. The first time someone asks for a refund, it totally knocks you out of your,
yeah,
knocks the wind out of your sails. And you're just like, oh God, I got to get this guy a refund. That sucks. None of those things are a big deal.
you
And
will
I
be
think that the richer you get, it's by and large a function of the caliber of challenges that you're willing to tackle.
yeah,
Like Amazon has set things up so that I can go on their website and I can order some bullshit thing I don't need at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's delivered to my house by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
If you think about the level of problems they had to solve in order to make that happen, it's mind-boggling.
yeah,
They have to have all the right warehouses and all the right places with just the right amount of stuff and just the right logistics and all the right drivers and all the right shipments on a website that's easier enough to use. Like these are insane problems to tackle, but
you
they
will be
tackled them and now they're rich and
you
God
will be
bless them because now I can get that little widget that I wanted in 3 hours without having to go to the store.
yeah,
So it's just about understanding that
you will be
as you level up, the things that seemed like a big deal are just not a big deal. And then eventually you realize basically nothing is a big deal. You will be,
Yeah, and realizing as you get into your personal growth work that whatever that thing is, that trigger, it's not because of what's happening right now. It's because of something that happened when you were a little kid, if you want to get scientific, before you were 7 years old. Right? One of the most powerful exercises that I do with my clients sometimes, and you guys listening or watching can do this at home if you want to, is just I'll just ask them to sit down and write out their very first memory of money,
you will
their
be,
very first memory that involved money.
you will be, you will
Oh,
be.
yeah, I see you thinking, I'll tell you mine. Mine was I
I
was a
don't
little
even
kid.
know. I don't really
I
think
was
about that.
watching my mother, who was a single mom, I was watching her pay the bills, and back then it was the '80s, so she was paying the bills with a, checkbook and
Yeah.
recording in her checkbook, and she's crying over the because she's trying to figure out how the fuck she's gonna pay all the bills. I also remember being a little kid, and to your point with the change, rolling pennies, rolling quarters, saving up our change, taking it to the bank. Those were my early money memories. Now, God bless my
Mm.
mom, she's done amazing. She always, with even what little she had, she was very responsible. She's comfortable and happy, and she gave me a great foundation. And that fucked me up for those to be my first money memories. I had to do a lot of work to overcome the anxiety and money entanglement that was lodged deep in my unconscious from growing up in that environment. Right. And if we don't start to explore, why do I feel this way? Why do I hit a ceiling when I'm making $10,000 a month or $50,000 a month or $100,000 a month and then do something to self sabotage it because I'm so uncomfortable? What's making me so uncomfortable? What do I need to go back and reprocess? What stories do I need to go back and rewrite? What programs do I need to write over so that I'm not having to manually override this every single time with affirmations? What's making my
Mhm.
unconscious will just run the program of abundance? What's making
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it is just for me getting into that like witness consciousness of understanding. And then this is what that book I was talking about was about. It's like realizing that you are not your thoughts, you are not your feelings, you
Mhm.
are whatever it is that is aware of having those
Yeah.
thoughts and those feelings. And once you really understand that, you start to realize like, does the past exist if you don't think about it?
Right.
Right? Like, does the like, point to the past? Where's the past?
Yeah.
And you just realize that, like, "Oh my god, I'm carrying around this collection of stories, of
Mhm.
labels." So, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm,
Mhm.
Christian, I'm Jewish, I'm atheist, whatever it is, right? And all of these things are things that you have chosen, stories that you have chosen to tell about yourself based on a past that doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
And in the moment, if you realize that, you can show up fresh in this moment, not
Mhm.
knowing, like, I'm gonna go on Michelle's podcast. I don't know what the hell we're gonna talk about, but it's gonna be cool. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, whatever. And that just frees up so much cognitive real estate that it's like mind-boggling. It really is. Like when you can stop delving into the past and reliving and re-torturing yourselves about these things that like it doesn't exist anymore. You have a memory of it, yeah, but it's not real anymore. You are reliving this, and then going into the future and creating this catastrophic vision of like all these terrible things that could happen. Like if you can get to the point where you realize like all of that is just nonsense and you're just not going to do it anymore, man, it's like supercharges your productivity, and it just allows you to really enjoy your life.
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming up on time. I want one nugget of wisdom from you. If somebody's listening to this, they want to be an entrepreneur, they want to go out and kill it, make a lot of money, make a big impact, but they don't know where to start. What's your
Yeah,
best piece of advice?
it starts with visualizing what you want as an already accomplished fact. So a lot of people set goals and then they think of those goals as something that's going to happen in the future. The trick is you have to set your goals and visualize what you want as if it's happening now. And you have to be grateful in advance for the things that you want. My wife, my kids, my car, my house, my company, my clients, all the amazing things in my life are things that I consciously visualized ahead of time, and I was grateful for them in advance. And I
Mhm.
don't know why that works, but it absolutely works. It's like Jesus said, whosoever asks for something, believing he has received it,
Mhm.
it
Yep.
shall be done unto him. And so the tenses there are very interesting. You ask
Mhm.
for something, believing you already have it, and then you get it. And for
Mhm.
whatever reason, that's the way that it works. So even if you're not sure, hey, I don't know what kind of business to start, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to make money, begin to decide what you want. Be grateful for what you have now, and then integrate being grateful for the things you don't have yet as if they're already real. And you will bring those things into your life faster than you can imagine. And then the price you have to pay is to live as if those
Yep.
things are already real. And I think that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you take those leaps of faith, like quitting my bartending job. The only thing that allowed me to quit my bartending job is I was visualizing every day. And one day I realized, hey, you know what would you do if you really believed in this? Oh shit, I'd quit my bartending job. And that's when I got scared. And that's when I made that leap of faith. But that's when everything changed.
Oh, beautiful. Russ, if people wanna know more about you or clients on demand, where can they find you?
Just go to clientsondemand.com, or you can find me on Instagram or YouTube at Russ Ruffino, Russruffino. And if you are a coach, consultant, expert, author, speaker, you're looking to create high ticket programs, bring high ticket clients to the door, and make that income and freedom and impact you were born to make, you can book a call to talk to us. You can go to clientsondemand.com/apply. And we're happy to talk to you about how we can help you make that happen.
Absolutely, and this guy is the real deal, y'all. I am living proof, living testimonial. My business 10x'd when I started working with Russ. I am back working with Russ again. I love working with Russ. There's a lot of people out there who will say a lot of stuff. Russ is the real guy. If you wanna find me, work with me, I'm at Michelle to Scale on all social media platforms, and please follow us on Delusional Pod as well. Please like this podcast, comment, subscribe, help us get this amazing message out to more and more people. We appreciate you guys. Russ, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show with us
Thanks,
today.
Michelle. My pleasure.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.